transcript, meaning it. What did you say? No, well, not with us. You can do what's called Florida virtual, but that's like you're not attending a school. You're just doing online. So if you're interested in just doing online, that still exists. You just Pinellas Park High School or Dixie or Opus-Ciega, none of the schools have an online version. It's through the state of Florida. But you see it's giving a transcript. So if for some reason language is a challenge, you can get the English version and try to translate for some people that maybe native language isn't English. Everything though that I say and do are recorded. So there's no reason if you miss a class why you can't stay up to date. All right, so again, I was just telling that this is my YouTube channel. Type in Mr. Gill Algebra into YouTube. Look for this picture right here, which is my puppy dog. And then go to Mr. Gill. And I typically post these at least by the next day. So like if you missed today, now I did already post today for Algebra 1 because I have third period planning. So I was able to post it, but some days I won't have a planning, like tomorrow I don't have planning. So I probably won't post tomorrow's until Wednesday. Sometimes I still get it up the same day, but again, shouldn't have any trouble keeping up if you miss a day. The date may not match up. So for example, if I report this class tomorrow, wait, let's see. Yeah. So if I reported this class tomorrow, but somebody missed third period, well, actually I don't teach third period. Somebody missed seventh period. Well, theirs would be on a different day because I don't see them tomorrow. I see them the following day. So the dates may not always match up. Just go in, watch it. Clearly, if you're like, wait a minute, I was already there that day, then you know you need to pick the other day that's next to the day, the day before or the day after. I think that's everything on it. Any questions on how to get to this or? Again, if you missed class, definitely you need to watch it. If you were here, but you just weren't able to keep up, then that's probably a good resource as well. The other good resource is your online book, which we're going to use today, along with some printouts possibly for some of you. I can find where it is. Online book. Oh, okay. All right, so if you go into your Clever, does anybody not know what I mean by Clever? If you go into your Clever, you should have learned what that is, even if you're new to the school or the district. You're looking for that icon right there. That's your online book. So that's your online book. And everything we do should be in there. Well, we do use some stuff that's not straight from the book, but it should mirror it pretty well. We're going to use it today, though. So go ahead, get out whatever it is you take notes on. You should always have whatever you're going to take notes on every day. I mean, never going to be a day when we come in here and just hang out and stand on our own like top of so Danielle, that's your second warning, bud. You get 0 more. Then it's mine. So if I tell you I'm taking your phone, please don't argue. That's supposed to really just be a referral. But I think that's a silly thing to take a referral for. So I'll just have you put it in. I have a bin somewhere, my phone jail bin. So you'll put it in the phone jail bin. I'll get back to you each class. Clearly, if you're not able to resist being on your phone, then I need to help you out. Just to give a new phone, we'll have more quick. So we started at 10:02, so we are outside of it. Yeah, I guess you can go ahead and go. Oh, no. So again, if you don't remember the phone fit policy, you trading me your phone for the pass. That way I remember to get the pass back. I tend to lose them, or you guys tend to lose them, and then I don't get them. Remember that somebody had it out. All right, so in this online app, and you will try to get in a minute. For right now, just hang tight. You should only see one thing when you go in there. You should just see your geometry class. It's a math application, a math online book. You only have one math class. You could have more, I guess. If for some reason you have more than one thing showing up here, you're going into geometry. This is your geometry class. Some of you might be making up a class and you may actually see algebra or something in there. But you go into the geometry one. So if I've assigned something, which I have, it'll show up on your, should show up on your very first page, home page, dashboard, whatever you want to call it. We will work from that in class a lot. So that's where your laptop will come in, your phone, or if you don't have technology, or if for some reason you're abusing the use of your technology, meaning you're not working, you're just playing on your phone or your laptop, then I'll start giving you the printed version, which will be exactly the same problems, but again, you won't have the ability to get help or any of that kind of stuff through the online app. Boy, and I always dread doing this for the first time because inevitably we're gonna have a lot of connection issues. 9. We'll hold off. We'll make that the last thing we try, just to see if you can even get in. We'll do the lesson part first. Also, though, the other big thing besides what I assign, I'm gonna try to not overwhelm you with all the stuff available in there. There is an interactive student edition of your book. So that's the one that I would say. So I guess people on the recording can't tell. This one right here. Again, you won't see all of that stuff. I see that because I'm a teacher. I have a teacher's edition. I have volume 2. I have all that stuff. You probably won't see more than a couple of things over there. There might be one other thing that will pop up eventually. I hope it'll pop up. This thing down here is another tool that you're going to use some. It's more of a work at your own pace. So like, let's say you're really struggling to keep up because some of the knowledge from algebra, you don't really haven't retained as well as you would have liked. That tool will kind of help get you caught up. Or if you feel like we're going super, super slow, I may assign that to you and you can kind of work ahead of what we're doing. And it'll get harder, like the questions in there get harder as you do better on it. So
I believe the bathroom is like that.
possibly, depending on where I'm at. And depending on how much work you've gotten done. So that will be one that I will assign. Again, there is no grade for this stuff. So a lot of you are going to be in that mode of, oh, I'm not getting a grade for it. Who cares? He's not grading it. I'm not going to do it. Again, your grades come from your ability to do the assessments. The assessments come from this stuff. And questions are not going to look that much different a lot of the times. I'm just going to pull them and you'll see some of the stuff today. It's not that difficult at all. I don't think it is. If you're very visual, it's definitely not difficult. So yeah, I can keep back pretty quickly. Gabrielle, you ready to go now? So between the student edition and between that Alex tool, if you work through those, when I assign them at your own pace, because Alex is really something you can work at your own pace on, you should be good. Like, I don't see any issues with for anybody. I don't care how much you think you struggle with math. That's going to be the same exact thing you're going to see on quizzes. The other piece is, and this is a very new concept for me, as well as for you probably. Oh, here it is. So this whole new, if you had algebra, you should be used to this. If you had algebra here last year, if you had algebra in middle school, then this might be a little different. This page right here kind of is the biggest difference between this current grading that we're going to be using versus what you might have used before. But again, if you had algebra here for the most part, you should be used to it. A lot of you ask questions and get a lot of help. And in the past, that has been you haven't really been penalized for that. Like if you ask a lot of questions and you got 100%, you finally got the problem right, you got 100% on it. That's not the case anymore. If you're asking a lot of questions, you kind of see that there's a kid riding a bicycle and there's somebody helping them. Highest you can get, and I'll tell you what this relates to in grades later when we have longer class. Highest you can get on this new standards-based grading is a 2, and there's a 3 and a 4. So this would equate to the highest you could get would be a C. Can't get an A or a B if I'm constantly having to help you with stuff. Now, the good news is, for those of you that struggle a little more, if you can do it with my help, you now will pass the class, maybe even get a C in the class, if you're willing to continue to put in the work and continue to get the help. So if you're one of those people that has always struggled and you're like, yeah, I'm just not going to try because I know I'll never get it enough, I'll never be able to do it on my own when I have a test, that doesn't really matter. We will do a lot of classwork where the classwork is not necessarily an assessment and you're not getting a grade for it. But if you have shown me in the classwork that with my help, you could do it, when I go to grade the assessments, even if you couldn't do it all on your own, or I might even be able to help you in an assessment, but sometimes I can't get to everybody. If you show me at some point during class, then I can take into account that, you know what, I wasn't really able to get to them during the quiz today. So I know the other day when I was working with them, though, they were able to do the problem with my help. So I can kind of take that into account and your grade will be higher than what it might have been in the past when you weren't able to do something with the home. So again, me being able to help is good for some of you. For some of you, though, you're going to have to make sure that you don't rely on my help too much because that'll kind of limit how high your grade can go. Any questions about the new grading scale? Again, most of you that were here had algebra last year, so you should be done. All right. So have something out to take notes on. It's going to be a little tricky because a lot of this stuff is based on pictures and images, and you're not going to really be able to draw the pictures and images, but that's what you're going to do when we go to this. So for now, just kind of take some notes, pay attention to what I'm doing, and then you can use the practice pages to kind of also as notes when you start doing the practice. I've already been on. Yep, I was. All right, so when you go into your book, there we go. So when you go in here, again, I would say go into your student interactive edition. This is exactly what we're going to go through in class. I'll show you how, I'm using a student version, not my version, so you can kind of see how it works. Now, there will be some other pages that we don't go through, although once we get into the book, I don't know if that'll be the case. So we are in our module 1, lesson 1. So module 1, like you see module 1, this is lesson 1. So module is the first number, lesson is the second number. So this is where you would take notes. You're going to be doing this on your own. You're going to get lost if you don't have some idea of what you're doing, some notes to help you. Module 1, I did not mean to do that. Module 1, lesson 1. Oh, actually, I think I clicked on it. So again, I'm not going to do every single thing in here. So if you're going through and you're like, I don't remember this at all from class, then we probably didn't go. I'm not going through every page. There's way more pages we could possibly ever get through. So go until you see something that looks familiar. I didn't talk about any of these people. Now, we did talk about points, lines, and planes. So you should be like, okay, this is something that we did. Let me read that real quick. Move forward through that. And then to change pages, just click on the next page. So again, we talked about how to name points. So same thing we went over. So again, you can just kind of scroll through that. There's really the pages are, oh, wait, there we go. So we talked about how to name a line. Actually, that was your bell work, was to name a line. We'll do that next time. So we said if we have a line and we want to name the line, how do we name the line? Christian, whenever you go to the bathroom, by the way, I always ask questions. How do we name lines? Or how do we name a point? How do we name anything? I don't care. Tell me something. Something you learned from last class.
Obviously, last class.
Well, you're getting caught up right now. So yeah, read it. How do you name a line? Plane, something. See where it says named by at the top? That'd be a pretty good help.
Name up.
Yep. What's that mean? This is the line they're giving you. How would I name that? There's two ways. Well, there's actually a whole bunch of ways, but one way has multiple words. What's that mean when it says named by? Yeah, so there are 3 letters on that. You'll notice there's a difference. There's 2 capital and 1 lowercase. How can I name that line? Still reading this right here. Named by the letters representing 2 points. Help you out. Actually, somebody else help him out. Dylan. I should wait. Help him out. How do we name it? Say aloud. We could just use 1 lowercase letter. So if we want to, we can just use this guy. Now, if we do that, we do have to write line M. And it's technically a script, a cursive letter. Yeah, I have to look your seat up. Name? What is it? Angel. Yeah, let me look your seat up. I was gonna say I'll just let you sit somewhere. Let's go ahead and make sure you see Angel.
Right there.
You remember where it was? All right, there you go. Sold. And so these will be seats for a while. So I need to make sure I change you. Now, if you're tardy, and I'm going to cut you slack today, if you're tardy and you've missed half the class, then you're considered absent. So today you've probably missed half the class, almost 30 minutes have been half the class, but I'm going to do a tardy today. Did you just get to school?
Yeah.
Angel. Change it to tardy later. So I'm not going to worry about that then now. Hold that thought. Let me get back to where I was. Oh, shoot, right there. All right, so who just asked? You answered a question, so yes, you go with yes. Sometimes what I'll do is make you answer a question. Oh, whose phone did I have? Javier still? All right, stay on that, please. That right now, actually working on that some. So that's one way we can name it. It's to write line and then whatever the one little lowercase letter. There's no point associated with this. Like there's no point. This has a point associated with it. That does. So what's the other way we can do it? All right, we got a volunteer. So let's say Nehemiah, right? All right, how else going to work? How many of them? How many capital letters do we need if we're going to do it? 2. So I can use any 2 capital letters on a line. Any 2, if it's a line, not a line segment, but any 2 if it's a line. Oh, I don't think we got the line segment in this. Yeah. So I could say, well, this is PQ, and I have to put the arrows on the end to show that it's a line. I could also flip those around, and I could say QP. Doesn't matter what order they're in. If there were more letters on that line, I could use those letters as well. But it's always 2 capital letters from points that are on the line. Javier, I literally just said, bud.
I know.
Oh, bro, they don't be looking at it. It's fine. Thank you, sir. All right, so I wish they would have put more points on that line so we could use examples of other points, but we'll get to that eventually. So the arrows on the end are extremely important. So remember that. Arrows on the end mean it's a line, not just a piece of a line, not a line segment. So hopefully you all wrote that note down. But right. Anything out there. So again, I'm gonna stop babysitting real fast. You're gonna have plenty of practice, so hopefully it'll catch on. But when I say something, you've gotta pick it out and write it down. I'm not always gonna sit here and say, write this down, write this down. Sometimes I will, and if I do, you know, it's really important. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 people not writing anything down because they don't have anything in front of them. And then a bunch of people that aren't budging when I say so. So hope you're not used to teachers at the end of the quarter getting your grade card. That's not this teacher. I don't have them in yet. If you want one, I have some. So if you don't have anything at all to write on yet. I'm getting some in that we will be cutting and pasting in eventually. Although not wild enough. That's the way the other teachers want to do it. So so again, make sure you understand that those arrows have got to be on the ends for a line. And there is a difference between a line and a line segment. Did we go over line segment in this class? Did we get to it?
Yeah.
We did. So a line segment would be only talking about this distance from. So if I said that, line PQ, so this guy up here, is talking about the whole line that goes on forever. There's no end to it. It doesn't, you can't measure it. There's no size because it goes on forever. It's infinite, infinitely long. PQ is just this little section from here to here. We can measure that. So a line segment has a length. We can measure from one spot to one spot. We can't measure the length of a line. So only a line segment can have a length. A line goes on forever. It's infinitely long. We could still, oh, and we can't name a line segment with a little lowercase letter. It's got to have the 2 capital letters. All right, so I don't think I'm going to worry about the online version today. I think you can do this. At least 1 through 6. I'll just go around and I'll help. Really, really struggling. Go back over. So again, if you put your head down, you fall asleep. I'm not going to constantly wake you up. If you miss the stuff, you're responsible for going back and getting it. So there, this is front and back. Take one path back. I'm going to show you, again, this is the practice page. What you can just put on the desk behind you and I'll grab it. So we're about to get into some examples. These are not the examples on that sheet, but I want to show you how closely they mirror the practice you do, which the practice is going to mirror your quiz. Oh, we got to talk about a plane real quick. So how do we name a plane real quick? What do we say for a plane? Kind of similar to a line. But we said any 3 letters. So now it's 3 letters instead of 2. And the only trick to a plane is those letters can't be on the same line. So the way we would know they were on the same line, I'll show you in a minute. The way we would know they're on the same line. they would show a line drawn through them. So they would have like a line drawn through those there, and then there'd be one more letter there. So that would be on the same line. We can't choose 3 points on the same line to name the plane. We've got to use points that are not what's called collinear was the word we learned. So we could name this any combination with B because it's not on that line and 2 other letters. If I included the F, we could say BDF, BFC, we could say CBD, anything as long as it's not the 3 that are on that line right there. And we could also say plane K. Actually, you have to say plane in front of all of them. So different versions, plane B, D, C. We can flip the letters around just like we did for a line. D, C, B. We could say plane K. We could just use the one capital script letter to name the plane also. And again, we could use F if I had drawn F. So with that in mind, whoopsies. Look at the first example, which is probably on the next. Oh, coplanar. That just means the points are on the same plane. Collinear means they're on the same line. Don't worry about that. All right, here we go. So example 1. This is not on your sheet, but you'll see how close this is. And I mean, I don't think this stuff is super, super tough for this first lesson. So hopefully that lesson will get, or that quiz will get you off to a good start. It just says, name this plane. Wait, is it name the plane? Line 3 name. Name the line. Enter the additional. Oh no, enter the additional names for line C. So there's a little bit going on there. Can everybody not see that? Anybody have issues seeing that? Can't see it? You want to stay up front? So I can zoom in. Do you need me to zoom in?
Yeah.
All right. I think I can zoom in. Yeah, there we go. So your name now I can't have the direction. Well, yeah, can't have some of them. So here's the C. There's your little C. What are the points that are on line C, would you say? Yeah, these are the 3 points. So line C is this line, and those are the points on it. So what do we need to do to name it other ways? Yeah, you just pick any 2 points you want, and we're talking about naming a line, so we can pick any points in any order. Just pick any 2 points, any order, and those are other ways to name the line. So go ahead, write down some other names. I think there's a box. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, you don't have that. Never mind. You don't have that. You're going to do it on a different, you're going to do that. It's not on your paper. If you're not taking notes, you don't have it. Yes, sir. It's again, it's not on the sheet I gave you. This is an example. You can draw this if you want to try to draw it. You're going to get to it. So we can do, if you just want to listen, I'm fine with you absorbing. Just you need to understand when you see a line, because you're going to get all kind of, what does this mean right here? What is the difference between this line and this line?
One line.
It is, but remember, lines go on forever. So technically they're both infinitely long. Visually, what is the difference? What did they do? How did they draw that line differently? Line, see, they did, didn't they?
One's going sideways, one's going upwards.
One is going in a different direction, but I'll tell you right now, direction doesn't matter. So remember that. That may be a quick note you want to write on your worksheet or something. The direction the lines are going doesn't matter.
They represented only a part of,
How do you know that?
because they will be on the represented part of the line only ends at the arrows. They don't show the whole line, so to speak.
Well, but again, remember, a line goes on forever. So even though they're only showing this part of the line, that line goes on forever. This line goes on forever. What's the difference between the 2 lines? One gentleman already said it, but I'll let other people. What is the difference, just visually? What is different about this line here? Again, this isn't math, like literally, what visually did they do different?
One has dashes along it.
They've got these dashes right here, don't they? One has less dots than the other, but again, that just means that there's less points.
What about that rectangle?
The plane, this thing?
Yeah.
So that's what we're about to talk to. That's a great question, Javier. What is the difference between these two lines in relation to this plane? So here's your note you need to take somewhere, whether it's on your worksheet, whether it's in your notes. This line with no dashes. The reason it doesn't have dashes is because it's laying on this plane. So this is a plane, right? We said that rectangle is a plane. So it would be like if I had a piece of paper and I drew a line on this paper, that would be like line C. That line is on this piece of paper. This line here with the dashes is not. It would be like, and I'm going to actually do this, but good for scratch paper, but I guess we'll do, I guess I'll kill. So that second line with the dashes is like this. So again, line C would be like I drew that line. Oh man, I still. That would be line C. I drew it on there. It's on that plane. What's the name of the other line?
Line B.
You could say line B, or what else could you say? BR, right? We could use any two dots that are on it. That line, and it does go through. If you'll notice, that line goes through line C. That's what that line is like. It goes, it's not on the plane, it's going through the plane at an angle. So like depending on the angle of the paper, you can see part of the pencil, but you can't see all of the pencil. This section right here is representing the line that's kind of like behind the plane, and then it peeks out from underneath the piece of paper or the plane. So that's what dashes mean. It means it's not on the plane. So somehow, and again, in your own words, you need to understand the difference, because one of the quiz, actually a bunch of the quiz questions are just which line is on that plane. So you can just say, oh, well, I know the line on the plane doesn't have any dashes in it. And then you'd have to name it, lines plane, or I'm sorry, line C, line TR, whatever. And then if you understand the dashes mean it's not on that plane, that's all they ask you. So again, that line that is dashed is like having a line going through the plane like this. The line right there that's solid is like having a line that's drawn right on the plane. It's actually every point of that line is also on that plane. How many points from this line are on the plane? The one that's the going through the paper. How many points from this line are on the plane? Why do you say 2? Who said 2? Why do you say 2? So like, can you, or is there a specific letter you think might be on the plane from that other one? What letters? R is on the plane. Good. What other letter are you thinking of? Okay, so B is not a point at all. B is just the name of the line. So I was just curious. B is actually above it. So this would be like V. The tip of this pencil would be like V. It's not on the plane. The rest of the pencil is not on the plane. The rest of the pencil, the only point that's on that plane is R. R is on the plane. So there's only one point from that other line on the plane, but there is one because it goes through the plane. If it goes through the plane, you have to have at least one point on it. All right, so any questions on that? A lot of this stuff is visual. If you see it immediately, then it's gonna be a pretty easy lesson and a pretty easy quiz for you. Because I looked at the quiz already, and it probably won't be exactly the same. I'll make a version of it. But it's just, it gives you a bunch of planes and lines, and you just have to say whether or not the plane or the point or the line is on that plane, and then you have to be able to name it. I guess we'll end there. So go ahead and pack up. That wasn't as much as I thought we'd get through, but that's fine.
Yeah.
When we didn't get to it, we'll do, that's gonna be your practice problem. So you'll see that the practice problems pretty much mirror what we're doing. So the very first problem, they give you planes and lines, and you just have to name the planes and the lines that, just like we did. Yeah, If you want to look at it, look over it, I mean, I already gave it to you, but we're not gonna get to it till tomorrow, yeah. It's gonna be very similar to what we do in class, though. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. Yes. And please stay off of the slide. Where? Once I've said you can be on your phone, yeah, I don't care what you do. If we're not doing a lesson anymore. Hold that thought 1 second so I can stop the recording. Because right now it's still recording everything we're talking about.